Hello, I'm here today with Alex Baisley from Canada, who is the founder of the Big Dream program, which is a wonderful program that I just started looking at. Hi, Alex,
Hello, great to be here. Thanks, Ingrid.
and I will draw your business.
Perfect. Can't wait. Let's get started.
Who is it that typically comes to you for help?
I would say they are, personality-wise, they're a very interesting person, very adventurous in life. They have a lot of eclectic interests, passions, talents. They want to make the most of their lives. They're adventurous internally as well. Like they tend to be very curious about things like mindfulness, yoga, or learning new things all the time. But deep down, under all of these things that they do and are interested in and engage in, there's one big thing they're looking for and not necessarily finding. They feel they have a great and unique and maybe even big contribution to make to the world. They've always felt it, Ingrid. It's inside them like a force bursting to get out. It confuses their friends who don't feel the same thing. It's like they're calling their thing in this world. They're trying to find that, and they feel, they sense that it's inside them, and they have felt it for a long time, many of them, sometimes decades, and they can't figure out what it is.
Hmm. Let's say many things. And how does their life look like right now? So they are adventurous. Maybe let's draw some mountains here. So they are they living their adventures or are they not?
To
Are they
some
happy or
extent, they
not?
are. To some extent, they are, and they have been for a long time, but there is no cohesion to it. It's like there's this one thing they're supposed to be doing in the world, and they don't know what it is. So they continue doing these things, learning these things, and have a pretty good life, most of them. But they crave something deep down, which is they're here for some purpose, and they don't know what it is.
So this is like going in too many directions.
Yeah. They may be doing work that they dislike or maybe even hate, or maybe even work that's killing them right now because they can't figure out what they're supposed to be doing. They have a lot of unfinished projects behind them or fizzled out projects, things that they've started that they thought was their calling and it wasn't. So they feel badly about that. They sometimes feel like a bit of a loser for
Hmm.
it, like there's something broken about them that they can't figure this out, yet they're so ambitious and try so hard.
So maybe they should look down.
They are feeling down about themselves. They sometimes feel that the problem is them, that they just can't stick with something and, well, stick with something. But they also are suffering a lot from impatience and worry because they're not getting any younger and feel very scared of missing the boat on figuring out why they're here. What is the thing? And they're so scared of not finding it.
So this it, and they don't know what it is.
Right. It's definitely to make some kind of a difference in the world using their unique talents, skills, interests, life
So
experiences.
maybe I have to add a few more arms. That's, I mean, I think I'm also one of I'm one of the people here. That's that's why grabbing onto different things, not having really a place to stand on or what.
That's a good question.
I get the image of time is
Always,
passing.
always moving or running or something. Oh, I see. Yeah. Yeah, right. Right. Yeah. Yeah, that fear of ticking time clock, that time is running out and the big idea is right there somewhere, but they
Mm,
can't find it.
maybe another lake.
I would comment on the hating work too, because they actually love work. They just hate doing work that's meaningless to them.
Mm-hmm.
They're very ambitious people. And once they know what they're meant to do or going to do, they work harder than anybody. Because they can't find what they love to do yet or meant to do yet, they often are stuck working jobs
Mm.
or even a business that is killing them. And
Mm.
so that adds to the pressure.
So they're confused and well, here's the pressure.
Yeah, you're right.
And what we don't have is adventurous, but aimless, or but seeking, or how would you say they are?
Adventurous, but something like no map. Adventurous, but nothing to grab onto. No map to guide them. Yeah, yeah. It's fascinating to watch this.
And they are not only entrepreneurs, they're all kinds of people. But
All kinds of people, typically entrepreneurs or at least self-guided because they cannot bear doing meaningless work for somebody else.
mm,
So entrepreneurship or some form of independent work is the only way they can, is the only environment they can usually live in.
yeah. Can you say something about? I mean, these are smart people. We are
Yes.
smart people. How come that we don't have this map? That's that we're stuck here walking against time. How,
I would say I can speak to that in your arrows, your
okay,
and at the end or whenever you want it, I can speak to it that I was that same person. Of course, that's why I do the work that I do.
yeah, yeah.
And it took me longer than most people to figure it out, so I have great empathy and experience with it.
Yeah, we get them. We get there later. Uh,
Mhm.
let's first draw. I mean, this is the unfinished projects and everything. Let's put this person over there
Yeah,
and make them happy because now they have worked with you.
they know exactly what they're here to do with their work and their lives.
Wait a second. Now we're removing removing some arms and stuff.
Yeah, right.
So are they still walking, or what is the image? Are they now standing because they found a place?
There's a bit of imagery that I'll mention a little bit later, Ingrid, that might be useful here. Now, the image in my head is of a woman who has dreamed of being, let's say, a permaculture farmer.
Mm-hmm.
And she is standing with her steaming coffee and she's looking out at the permaculture farm that's growing in front of her, even though there's only some of it built yet. The rest she can see in her mind. She knows exactly what she's building.
Okay.
This is her calling in life.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
I think this metaphor is a good metaphor for all of us, whether it's a garden or not.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Coffee. Yeah, and then there's things like hands to draw. That is not so easy. Oh, she's having coffee, steaming coffee. Coffee is it, and she is like proud.
Right. Satisfied, proud, delighted.
Wait a second, I have to switch the arms. They are it's better like this because she needs to because the future is on the right side, you know.
Got it.
Maybe boots.
Sure. All of her interests and cares all have a place now. They're growing in the garden.
Now, how does a garden look? So these are small plants.
Some already growing and some are in her imagination that but she can visualize them. She can see where it's all going. Yeah, some trees. That's lovely.
Maybe
Oh,
we don't even have to have
oh, that's lovely.
there's some kind of animal, and then we have maybe this is, I don't know, should it just be
Yeah, that's nice. Yeah, yeah, that's great, Ingrid.
what is before she had a question mark inside and now she has a heart?
Ah, yeah, that's great. Nice. She's proud of what she has done behind her there, those small plants growing, even though it's not the full garden yet. She feels so on track. She feels so proud of what she's done. It's lovely.
Maybe a few people also.
Yeah, to represent her loved ones or even clients. And she doesn't have that horrible lost feeling anymore. She is not
Mhm.
scattered. She knows exactly what she's doing when she wakes up in the morning to go to work and has no doubt. I know what I'm doing with my life.
I think this waking up in the morning, this is actually powerful.
Yes,
Or maybe with my life.
no, it's very powerful. It's very common with my clients to wake up in the morning and desire clarity of what they're doing. They may start with meditation and a coffee, but they know in their minds there's a peace there. There's a peace inside them that once I start working, I know exactly what I'm doing and why.
This is a bed that was recognizable as a bed.
I know what to do. There's a word
Oops,
missing
oops,
there.
oops. Yeah, thank you. Like she has arrived.
Yes, there's a stillness now, whereas before she was always running, desperate to find her thing, and now she has
Hmm.
found it.
I found my thing or my place.
Do you have any suggestions? My thing, my calling sounds a little bit vague, is the only trouble I have with that word.
Yeah. I somehow I also want to put here
I
that
found what I meant to do with my life.
yeah.
Oh, nice. Maybe even a slight difference there, what I meant to do with my life.
Hmm.
It's almost like finding something rather than choosing something.
Hmm.
That's nice. It's a great visual.
So before we had adventurous, but no map to guide them.
Yeah.
And now we have, I mean, she's still adventurous, living the adventure, or what is she now?
She's still adventurous. That's a great question, but less scattered. All her adventure would take her in many different directions that didn't feel connected before. And now everything feels more cohesive. What's the word I'm looking for?
Yeah. I mean, could it be something so simple like she's living her dream?
Absolutely. It could be as simple as that and as true as that.
Hmm. Should I say her or their? Theirs maybe better. It's your clients.
Yeah. It is true that most of my clients are women.
Are they?
Uh, yeah, but I would love to for this to be useful to all genders.
Yeah. Okay. How do you get them there?
Okay. Number one, I broke this into three stages
That's
conveniently.
that's
You're calling, so they're all perspectives that alter the decisions. So number one is you're calling in order to not feel lost is to be the designer and architect of a holistic ecosystem. It's like a garden which is unique to you and made of 5 ingredients. The 5 There's this little bit I'll try to say quickly, and if you don't want to attempt to draw it, that's fine, but I'll just get it out quickly. There's a story that is very powerful for my clients, and it also changed my life, which is the tale of the two barbers. And just two sentences.
Mm-hmm.
If you imagine two barbers, and barber number one opens a barber shop, and after the initial excitement wears off, he finds himself stuck in the barber shop for decades, missing out on family and personal life in the process. Whereas barber number two, satchel over his arm, he has freedom in his daily life. He works with his favorite people, seniors, walking to their homes and the senior center. He has no barber shop, he's on foot. As a result, he has family time, travel, even writes a book sharing wisdom and stories from his clients. His work is very meaningful. He even has more money due to fewer expenses and clients who love him. So essentially, Barber one didn't find his calling and wasn't happy. Barber number two did find his calling, and yet both are barbers. And so the lesson here is the idea of understanding, finding our calling and designing our calling has 5 ingredients, and only one of them is work.
Mm-hmm.
And I can list those if you like.
Yeah.
Okay. So I call these 5 ingredients juicy realizations, or JRs for short. A little cheesy, I admit, but that's how they felt when I thought of them first. And my life changed within one afternoon when I thought of them.
Mm-hmm.
So JR1 is your big dreams. Number 2 is your daily life. Number 3 is your who's, WHOS. In other words, the people in your life that matter. Number 4 is your inner life. And number 5 is your work and income. So clients who blend all 5 of those things together tend to experience the feeling of not being lost anymore. They tend to feel like they have found, like the woman over there in
Mm-hmm.
Island B, they tend to feel they haven't forgotten something. Everything has a place in their life.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the first stage, is to back up and understand that if we're going to figure out great work, we can only do it in the context of great life first. Okay.
And that's the first step, is to answer these 5
Correct.
questions.
Correct.
Or
Yes. And you could see, Ingrid, for example, just by quick example, what it looks like when you leave something out. Let's say a person has amazing work that they love, but because of the way they've done it, they have no family time anymore. They never get to see their kids or their partner, or they have no friendships or something. You can see how after a while it's not going to feel like they're on track. And so all 5 of these have to be in place. And it sounds like it's complicated at first, but it's actually much easier way to design life.
And Barber 1 has never thought about it.
Barber 1 didn't think of it, and most of us don't. Most of us try to figure out, most of us are Barber 1. Most of us try to figure out what's our thing in this world, the work we're meant to do, and we think of it only through the lens of work. Should I be a yoga teacher? Should I be a teacher? Should I be a entrepreneur selling something? Should I be a barber? And those are great questions. But as Barber number 1 and 2 show us, that's not enough, because we can completely miss our calling if we don't do the thing in the right way. There could be a baker who loves to bake, and so opens up a bakery. And just like Barber number 1, like, what else do you do when you're a baker? Well, if we go through this list with clients, they may come up with something completely different. Like I teach baking to kids. I travel around to schools and teach baking in schools. That's completely different process. Still baking, but the calling was found in the second case and not the first.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Wonderful.
Let me know if you need me to stop or
Oh,
elaborate on anything.
I mean, that's great.
So number 2
Yeah.
is, unlike the barber, most of my clients have a lot of interests, not just one. So what to do about that? And so the title, let's say, of this stage is to blend your interests together instead of trying to choose one. It's like creating a garden instead of a monocrop. And I do have more to say about that when you're
Yeah,
ready.
yeah.
Or
What is the headline of the first one? Like widen your perspective, or what did you say?
how about
Assessment, maybe an assessment
how
of
about
your
build a life first,
life
or
first?
life first, work second? No, that's not quite it because that's almost sequential. Um,
No, it's like it's why you said something like widening your perspective.
oh yes, I said backing up. Yeah, widening also works though. Because if our eyesight is too narrow, we're only looking at work. We have
Mhm.
to broaden out. So
Or broaden your perspective. Is that
what
better?
about what about yeah, yeah, or wide, like you said, widen your perspective. Delightful to watch it.
Mhm. Blend your interests.
Right, right. So because I said earlier that most of my clients are self-employed or self-guided, I think there are two ways to be self-employed. One is to sell a product or a service, and that is forces somebody to choose. You have to choose if you're going to be doing massage or if you're going to be doing, I don't know, yoga. You're selling a service, you have to choose. Selling a product, service. And that is the problem for 100% of my clients. That has been the major 100% number one stumbling block right there. And that's what kept them stuck. And that's what kept me stuck for 10 years. Because there's a second way to do self-employment, which will be so obvious when I say it, but most of us don't think of it. And that is to design experiences for other people.
So we have different things. And then how does an experience look?
Yeah,
You
great
said
question.
blend together.
Yes. In fact, let me just give you a quick little example here. Picture the person who can't choose between teaching yoga, meditation, coaching, art, creativity classes, or maybe wilderness adventure for her work. And if she's selling a product or a service, she has to pick one. When she's designing experiences for other people, she can create the wilderness yoga experience, retreats for women, where women hop into canoes and paddle their way into the wilderness and do yoga, meditation, art, and everything else that she's interested in, and leave the city behind to renew themselves. So that's an example of designing an experience for people. And you can see by the story that for my client, all of her interests have a home in that business.
Mm-hmm. Okay, then we do like you have to choose. This is supposed to be a package. Let's draw kind of package like that. So these are now, so here it's like more organic and comes together in one experience.
That's right. And experiences are boring if they're only made of one ingredient. If you go to a wonderful retreat in the wilderness, you would want to do different things. And so that all of a sudden, my client who couldn't choose before suddenly becomes the perfect person to design experiences for people.
Okay.
Lovely. Absolutely lovely. And the third thing that I would say here, unless it's a repeat of what I've already done in Island B there, but is they have what makes them feel like they found their calling and that they're waking up in the morning doing what they're meant to be doing is that they have an overall big dream map in their head of where it's headed. So they know where this is going and have learned the art of project thinking to begin starting on their calling right away.
Oops. Wait.
With clients, they become experts at things like micro projects to experiment with ideas and relax into several phases of their calling over the coming months or years. So they no longer feel like they have to do everything all at once, like that woman in part 2.
Mm-hmm.
Not everything is built, but she also doesn't have, she's not suffering from the same impatience she did before because she knows where it's headed.
Mm-hmm. So we have phases here.
Mm. And it's very forgiving because if this person has new interests a year from now, which they will, they can find a home in this. They
Mm-hmm.
can keep adding to it and adapting and changing as they change and as their life changes. They're no longer trapped. As an example, this may not be something you need to draw, but as an example, that woman living their dream over on the right side there, if let's say she has children at home and the children have a play at school or they're sick or something, then, barring anything emergency, she can take the day off and go do that.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of freedom for the larger ecosystem of her life.
Yeah. How did you come up with that? Let's draw a little bit about you.
Sure.
Wait a second here. Let's see. Can I see you?
How cool. Huh.
And should we say you're the founder of the Big Dream program, or do you call yourself life design coach or something?
No, I think I'll just go with creator or founder of the Big Dream program. Sometimes I'm a coach, sometimes I'm a mentor, sometimes I'm a Reiki master, sometimes I'm a meditation teacher.
Mm.
It just depends on what they need in the moment to help get this map out of themselves.
And tell us a little bit about your story. I would like to have like the facts and also your empathy. Why you're doing what you're doing? What is your
Yeah.
story?
There's it's so easy to picture because I can picture the moment. I was this person in Island A
Ah.
for a long time. I don't know, 15 or 20 years. I was a commercial diver. So I worked underwater for 10 years and I didn't like it. I wasn't meant to be doing that in the first place. It wasn't my strengths. It was uncomfortable. It was freezing cold. And I knew that there was something I was supposed to be doing. And this definitely wasn't it. And on Sunday mornings, in the last few years, on Sunday mornings, I would go to a coffee shop to try to figure out my life. And I read a lot of books. I journaled a lot. And every idea I came up with or every book I read was either too practical in the sense that it didn't include my heart and meaningfulness and the things I wanted to do in the world, difference I wanted to make. They lacked spirit and heart. or they were books about follow your bliss and follow your passion and included all of my heart, but weren't practical enough for me to not have to go diving the next day, which is what I was hating so much and trying to avoid. And then something happened. Then I accidentally discovered Reiki. And although I was very suspicious of it at first, I wasn't sure it was even real. It changed my life, and I fell in love with it, and I studied it, and I became a Reiki master and teacher. I finally left the diving behind and thought I had found my calling.
Mm-hmm.
But I was very confused 5 years into that work, that new work that was amazing, that I loved. I love my clients, and I couldn't understand why I was walking to work feeling the same as I used to feel when I went to the diving job. And I thought I was broken. Must be something wrong with me. I just can't be content.
What then?
5 years into that is when the tale of the two barbers came to me from step number one below.
Mm-hmm.
I was teaching.
Where did you find it and how?
Well, it just came to me. I was making up a story for a workshop I was teaching to try to help Reiki people who love Reiki do it for a living, step into doing it for a living. And I was designing a workshop for those people. And I had been using a similar story to the barbers that I had made up that was Reiki masters. But then, with the help of Tad Hargrave, in fact, I realized that I wanted to speak to all people, not just Reiki masters. I thought we all had the same problem. And so I needed not Reiki masters, I needed something else. And all of a sudden, I could see the two barbers in my mind, and I knew exactly what their problem was. But then I also suddenly realized what my problem was. I'm not meant to be stuck in an office. And there was more to me than just Reiki. So I had built a barber number one life for myself.
But you needed to go through all these experiences, of course, in order to do what you're doing.
That's it. One little edit I wouldn't mind is the Reiki master and teacher didn't like it.
Oops. Yeah.
That's not true because I did like it, and it wouldn't feel right to my
Okay.
Reiki clients to say that, but it wasn't complete. There was
Yeah.
something
Still wasn't complete.
missing.
Yeah.
Something important was missing, and I didn't know what it was.
Are you still doing it, Reiki?
Yeah, right. It's kind of evolved into energy healing, I call it, because I'm not, how would I put that? Energy healing is much more broad. Reiki is very specific. And I think energy healing is something everybody does anyway. They don't need to learn it. It's something that's like breathing. And so as soon as we put a label on it like Reiki, then all of a sudden it brings a set of rules and dogmas with it, which are unfortunate because I think everybody can do energy healing.
Yeah.
And so yes, I do it and I teach it. And energy work and meditation is quite an important part of my work for some clients who want it.
Uh-huh. How would you say, is there something you would say to your clients, like to encourage them, or your promise or something? It's like there's a speech bubble, space for a speech bubble here.
Wow.
Maybe it's just something from below here.
Let me just try with longer words, but this isn't short enough. Is that you're not broken, you're not wrong,
Yeah.
and you've been struggling for a very good reason. There's a reason why you have not been able to choose and move forward with something, and this might, I hope, fix it.
And what is the reason for your struggle? Is it that we're thinking too much in?
I would say still thinking through the lens of having to choose something, choose one thing. I think that's the biggest problem. Once they
Well, and
realize,
why is that? Why do we think we have to choose something?
it's a good question. I think that's what the world tells us we're supposed to do. And that's a good question, Ingrid. What would be your thoughts on this? Like, why does someone wanting to be a barber automatically think of a barber shop instead of thinking that they could do it a different way?
Tradition?
Tradition, convention. We haven't been given a model that makes a different style of work
I actually
more
think
obvious.
that that would be also something, a new model
Yeah,
for life and work.
yeah, yeah, that's right. That's nice.
I mean, this whole barber shop thing, isn't it like from the Middle Ages when there were these, I don't know what it's called, it's called guilds,
Yeah, right.
where you just were born into something,
Yeah,
or and there was no way to get out of it. You were a peasant or not.
that's it. That's it. Yeah. You know, if you think about picture a Reiki master's office, and probably you can picture it. Think of a dentist's office and you can picture it. Think of a bakery and what it looks like and you can picture it. But why is that? That doesn't make any sense. We're far more creative than that. And if a person has way too many interests and hasn't been able to choose, it's very likely that the model in their head, the picture in their head of what it's to be, isn't actually a good match.
It's a more creative model for life and work.
Mm, inclusive, comprehensive,
Yeah.
or maybe just new.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe just new. Oops. I mean, this is of course also valid. It's not that I wanted to take it away. This is, you're not broken.
Yeah, yeah,
But the reason for your struggle is that the model is outdated.
that's it.
At least for some, maybe.
Yes. At least for some, exactly. That's a great point, Ingrid. Again, it may not belong in the drawing, but there are some people who want to start a barbershop. I
Yeah.
have clients who really, really want an office. So I'm using examples here that lead barber number two to a bit of freedom because that's what I wanted. I wanted to get out of the office.
Mm.
And so I went from Reiki Master to the Big Dream program. The Big Dream program is just simply a container that's big enough that I can put all of my interests in it, not
Mm.
just Reiki. And I don't have to do it from an office. So I got to spend a lot more time with my kids when they were growing up and doing adventures. And one example is going traveling. My wife was working as a florist, but I got to travel with the kids teaching workshops across Canada. And so we swam and we camped and we stayed in people's homes. And I taught workshops along the way, and I earned more money doing that than I used to when I was in the office.
Yeah.
And so it
Nice.
was a perfect, this is too much to put in the drawing, but
Yeah.
it was a way of blending all of the things I care about, my kids, swimming, camping, teaching something useful, earning
Yeah.
money, all in one single package, one vehicle. And oh my God, like that was just mind blowing to me that my business could be better that way than being stuck in the office and trying to get more clients.
Yeah, we're
I'm so,
getting there.
I'm so grateful to you, Ingrid. This is just, it's a, can't find the right word, Ingrid. It's very moving actually, because I've been doing this for more than 15 years. I've been doing the Big Dream program, and to see it visually like this is really quite, it's very moving.
Oh,
Uh,
I'm happy to hear that.
I'm very grateful to you. It's, yeah, amazing.
It's wonderful work that you're doing. Thank you.